your mom's talking to you, just pull up with a big song.
Yeah. What is this?
What is this? That's a nice name. Yeah, I was like,
Thank you.
Shit.
What is this podcast?
Yeah.
Do you guys don't know?
No, we don't. Like that's the kind of like the whole point. We still haven't figured each out.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So it's
Very
you can
lifelike.
curse if you want.
That's the best thing about podcasts.
Exactly.
I have like curse words I'm trying to try out.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for the chance to,
Did you say you have curse words?
You
You're
know,
trying to try out?
you're talking all this shit and we've already
Language.
started recording, which is
okay.
fine.
You have?
So welcome, guys. Welcome back to
What's
another episode of What Is This Podcast.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
My name is Victor,
Pepper 5.
and we're joined by guests today. We're joined by the wonderful duo of Mankind.
What's up?
That is us. That is us.
How you
What's
guys
up,
doing? How
people?
you feeling
Good.
Fantastic.
on
Tired.
this cold evening?
Tired, yo. These guys are recording this podcast at midnight. I don't know whose bright idea it was, but
Yeah, but it's wonderful to have you on.
thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate
We
that.
just started doing this guest thing, and you guys are our third.
You guys didn't used to have guests?
Nah,
it was
it
just
used to be the two of us.
32 episodes without guests.
Yep.
30.
That's
30.
30.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you
And,
had 5 guests so
You
far.
guys know a lot about each other now, right?
Safe to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Safe
Yeah,
to
but
say.
I still don't know, like,
His second name, what his mom's name's called.
yeah,
I actually
but-
don't know your favorite color. You have one.
That is.
I do.
Black.
Okay, probably. It's between black and red, but we're getting to know Mankind, not to know.
Each other.
Yeah.
We'll do that off air. So,
Anyway.
welcome to our show, guys.
So before
you,
even
man.
we start, I would like to thank Pitson for making this happen, and also the able manager, Mr. Mima.
Miss the
Shout out.
Is it
Yeah.
the Mima or the Mima?
The Mima.
Oh, you said Mr. Meme. I had
Yeah.
Mr. Meme. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Shit. Y'all are comfortable now.
She's the one who got
Yeah.
this to happen.
Yeah.
Shout out to.
Shout out, Mima.
I had to call
Mima.
someone who had to call someone, and then had to call
Call
her,
another-
and then she had to call.
18 layers, people. 18 layers.
That's how you know these guys are, yeah?
We're
They're
big
meant
deal
to-
yeah.
now.
Exactly. So before we start,
Yeah.
do you have anything you guys want to say?
But they've not introduced yourselves
They have.
specifically, as
Okay.
in
Oh, by the way,
individually.
yeah.
All right.
You
Okay.
might have fans that recognize you by voice, so just continue.
I'm Eugene
Mm.
Okumu,
Okay.
fourth son of Okumu. Actually, no. But yeah, one of his sons. And my stage name is Main.
Main.
Yeah. One
Because of
half
the beard?
Sure.
Mm.
Of Mankind, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the main of Mankind.
MANE. Come
It's
on.
actually like an acronym
For?
for May Art Never End.
May art never end.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's actually so dope. And
And I am Brian Chieng. I go by the name The Cloak of Mankind.
is that another acronym?
Oh God, no, that'd be a long, tiresome acronym.
Yeah.
So T, T in the.
Yeah, so where are you guys originally from?
You mean
Backstory of maybe how you
Like,
met.
Even not
That's-
even where you were
like
born.
originally? I guess I'll start because it's definitely a foreign story. I was born in Eldoret.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, at least I think so. I don't remember.
What does your birth certificate say?
It was changed many times.
Interesting.
It happens that I lost the first one, so my mom had one of her lawyers change.
One of our lawyers.
When you work for a non-governmental organization, you have a bunch of lawyers at your disposal. Not because you're powerful, no.
Yeah.
Because NGOs just usually do weird things.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're extra like that.
They
Right.
are, to be honest.
You need to have lawyers on retainer.
So you think you were born in Eldoret?
I assume so. I spent a majority of my childhood there. There's like 2 photos that can prove it.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like a cat.
Yeah, you know. And then I moved to Kisumu when I was, I guess 11 to go to high school.
Okay.
Which
To go
is
to high school,
yeah,
11.
to go to high school. I moved at 11 and then went at 12. I started school when I was 2.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
Yeah.
Calm down.
I feel like this is a problem with
trying to do the
podcasts.
math.
Once you go back, now you have to.
Yes.
Look at
Now you have to break it down.
Hold up, man.
When
Okay, are you like a genius?
Yeah,
or-
you're a child prodigy.
let's listen to the story and then find out.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we didn't have much money, so to afford a house help was a bit of a stretch, and everyone in the house kind of worked. My grandmother, who used to take care of me when my mom was away,
Okay.
was a teacher, and she had full days. Then my cousin went to high school, so she had full days, and my mom used to live out of town, and so I had to.
Yeah, take your
I can't stay at home alone. So I went to school and I started speaking before I turned a year old. So they were like, just take him to school. So I went to school at 2. Yeah, just as soon as I turned 2. At least a couple months into 2, I started school.
Okay.
And poverty, it had nothing to do with ingeniousness. It was just poverty.
Okay.
Surrounding circumstances.
Yes.
Okay.
But
We had to.
did you start learning at 2?
I actually skipped middle class because they said I was advancing too fast. But advancing in middle class means ABCD.
Okay.
That's not necessarily a mark for.
Yeah, when you start
I could
speaking
just
when you're
spell.
before one.
Yeah.
You,
I've been spelling for a while, you guys.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm advancing fast. But yeah, so I just skipped middle class because all that they did was spell and sleep.
How far have you gone with your education at this point?
I finished a year of college and then I dropped out.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
college dropout.
I'm a college dropout. Very ashamed, but I'm a college dropout.
No, but I would assume your
that was
parents...
a joke, by the way. I'm not ashamed.
No, I would assume your mom would have felt a kind of way, or at least even if not
she
her,
did.
like
She did.
the general family.
They did. When you sort of come up in circumstances where you don't have too much at your disposal,
Okay.
education is usually your go-to, and it's that one thing your family can offer. Like, if we can't ever get out of this mess, at least you can, learn some shit and then get out by your own abilities.
Yeah.
So me dropping out was sort of like a punch in the gut. Like,
For every... Yeah. I would assume so. Like,
yeah, so they felt some way.
Yeah, you should have seen the disappointment in my parents. Like,
You're also a college dropout.
No, but I switched. That's the only
He
difference.
dropped out once.
There's no winning.
He dropped out once and then he recollected his thoughts.
Yeah,
and
if somebody asked
that's
me,
how
I'd
actually
just say,
got to meet him.
yeah, you
Okay.
So
yeah,
if it wasn't for education, probably.
yeah, we wouldn't have met, but like,
That's
it's,
very, very dope.
And main,
What
tell us
about me?
like the little prelude.
Oh,
Cloak
where I was born, right?
Yeah,
That's
born.
what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Nairobi. I was born in Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
I was raised in Nairobi. Yeah, so I've been.
And you
here.
didn't start class
At 2 years.
No, no.
Okay.
I was still eating and pooping and doing
yeah, okay,
kid
that's
stuff.
most of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I
You
started
made it
probably,
sound as if when I started, I stopped eating.
like I was like full time
That's all you're
in
doing.
the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys went to high school together,
Yeah, we did.
We did.
which is
Miranda. We went to Miranda High
Is
School
this where you
together.
The great Miranda.
This
great-
this is what we met.
Fantastic.
how was that experience in high school? And did you guys meet in high school, after high school, during high school?
In
I was in high school for a whole year before he came, and then he joined us in Form 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So he came from Sunshine.
Oh, you're in Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a couple of people I know from there, but we're not going to get
What
into that
informed
right now.
that choice of going from Sunshine that's in Nairobi to Miranda? That's
Why did you assume
west?
it was a choice? Why did you think it's a choice?
Okay. What informed that decision?
I was on the run. You could say that.
That's
I
a
just
very
wanted
dope
like a
answer.
new
And you had to run that way.
a new start. I don't know. Anyway, was good for me. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I found
But at
myself.
least now we have mankind.
At least we have
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, which is
So
great.
Which
yeah.
is
And before we
fantastic.
started even the podcast, you told me you attending classes.
Yeah,
Business
I'm doing
classes.
business. I did drop out of school as
Yeah.
well to do music, but I went back very recently
Oh,
to do
Okay.
business. Yeah,
what
Interesting.
What were you studying before you dropped out? Both of you.
actuarial science.
And
Piece of shit
Cloak.
course. And I was doing math and computer science.
dope.
Wait, a double major, just like
They're actually one thing now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because I'm studying computer science and I don't think
There's computer science and there's math and computer science.
there's math in computer science,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Like
Yeah.
because it gets crazy
I
from
kind of
time
liked.
to time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so at what point did you guys individually discover your maybe ability
Talents.
to make music or something of the sort,
Individually.
Ability to make music.
or that you're in love with music? Let's say.
I've loved music since I was a kid.
Okay.
I think what has changed is what types of music I like.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was younger, like I didn't find hip hop or soul, funk, jazz appealing.
Okay.
Mainly because like most of the stuff we used to listen to,
Mhm.
at least on TV, was like mainstream stuff,
Yeah.
like the singles from the albums, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So as I grew older,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother and my elder brother discovered the internet and
Okay.
started like bringing CDs home
Yeah.
with like full albums, it became more diverse.
Or in the terms of your music taste.
Yeah, so like I've loved music all through, particularly because my family is kind of, my dad's side is musical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like he used to play records. He used to be a producer as well before he became like a suit guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Oh,
So
traditional.
you got it from your dad.
Yeah, you could say that.
He had
Right.
he had the dream.
He did. He just never saw it through.
Yeah, because of mom and dad at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. They had to. And what about?
My love. I can't like nitpick a single point in history where it started,
Okay.
but I think it has something to do with my youngest uncle. He's more like an older brother to me.
Mm-hmm.
He bought this laptop after he finished high school.
Yeah.
Came home with his Toshiba. I remember the ones that had those thing that looked
The-
like at the
Yeah, I get
at
you.
the back. Yeah.
I don't know.
So it was his first laptop, and at least I thought so. And he loaded it up with all sorts of music. Like they had
Bootlegged.
rhythm tunes a whole 2 years before they were hot. So in like 08 there, he was
okay.
already bumping rhythm, and then they became hot in 2010,
Yeah,
2011.
when we were starting.
So I had like
Vibes
a
catch
backlog of, I knew Kinataris Riley for a while.
Yeah.
And then when I get to high school, and then I meet a homeboy called Jack, and it's like, and then we could like bond on that level.
Yeah.
But it was his fault, man. He sort of put me onto music in that way. And the first time I exercised my open love for music had to be, I think I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 8 because I remember I was caught by my class teacher. Her name was Mrs. Bigambo. She just stood at the door as I was basically doing this riff of a rock track I was imagining myself doing in class, and I was standing on top of a desk, and then I was
So
doing
you're a
this,
showman.
you can say that.
Yeah.
I was doing this riff, and then I jumped off, and then the class was mad quiet. Then I turned, and she was at the door.
What got into
She just laughed and left.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
She just laughed and left, and I was like,
It's
"Oh,
a
okay."
good teacher.
Teacher Joyce
Okay.
from my
What do you shout
primary
at?
school
She
wouldn't have
whooped-
done
she-
that.
I paid for other things.
Exactly. You had to got
Yeah.
your ass moved.
Anyway, fast forward, you guys are established now. So you decide to form a band, right? A group.
Not really. When
Yeah.
we formed the band, we were not established. We were still in high school.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh,
much bigger.
So Mankind was conceptualized in high school.
in high school.
Yeah.
By,
This is form
This is from 3.
three.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or end of 2.
Okay.
Can't really remember. But yeah, it started in high school. It was much bigger then. It was me, the Cloak,
The Cloak.
Nomad, Humanoid,
Mm.
and my sister, who was not in our school. She
Oh,
was,
I was about to
You
ask
need to
that.
clarify. Yeah, you
I
need
was
to
about
like
to ask.
clarify.
she was
Okay.
in law school.
So Mankind was a collectible of 5 people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then now you started
And our
Chev.
manager, Marv.
So 6 guys.
Yeah.
So now are they still
Our first
part
manager
of Mankind?
was my desk mate in high school. It was Marv. So
Oh, so small
Dope.
beginnings.
yeah,
Ah.
Yeah, that's where the music started.
Okay.
It was just like a bond, you know. We thought differently, all of us. So we had to run into each other.
This is interesting.
And then after high school,
Yeah.
we went and did our first EP. That's when North was recorded, and then at the end of the year, like it just really took off.
Yeah.
It was
I
on
remember
radio.
because
That's the first song I heard from this guy.
I was at the other school.
it's
That
because
I'm
it was
not
the
in.
first song
Yeah.
we put out.
That was the first song
That
you
was
put
the
out.
The
first
first song we ever put out.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, and then
That's
I think quite interestingly, is that a word?
Yeah.
Interestingly, it was like lady who showed me your music.
Ah,
That is
was
very
she hot?
interesting.
Did she like?
Yeah, she
have
was. She was
good
actually
taste?
quite.
She
hot.
has great taste in music.
No, because and then she was like, "Have you heard of Mankind?" I'm like, "No." This was I think 2015 when I was joining campus.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know who Mankind
When we were joining
is. Oh,
campus.
when we were all joining
We were
campus.
Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
happening.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
who's
okay.
Mankind? And I listened to the song, and to be quite honest, it didn't sound Kenyan.
Yeah, that's
Very-
what most people say.
very,
but
very honest,
what sounds Kenyan?
I mean, I even the accent.
That's an important question. 2019, man.
Yeah. No, I feel like
What's Kenyan? What's not Kenyan?
if you turn on the radio, you can tell a song that's been recorded by a Kenyan.
Nah.
Facts.
I
Say it
mean,
like it is, bro.
yeah, I mean that's the truth
Because we do have like a mainstream sound.
yeah, it
We
is
don't
there.
have like a sound, but we have a mainstream sound
Okay.
that has evolved.
Into what right now?
Right now, it's just like a mix of Kapuka and Afro House, I think, and Afro Pop. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
And then I think most of our artists are either born from other African countries, or trying to like embellish what was done before by Kina Isa, K-Rap, Nameless.
Yeah.
They're just like taking it a step further. But it's mixes of like that's old sound and the sounds we're getting from West Africa and Tanzania. But there's definitely an alternative scene.
A very
Yeah.
like, it's
The
very
reason-
huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Mhm.
The reason
Sounds
people,
like an A&R.
Yeah, he
Yeah, he
does.
sounds
He
like
does.
an A&R.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like those guys.
Oh,
So-
I don't like
know
guys
what they say
Speaking of
about
A&R, yeah.
becoming what you hate.
Speaking of A&Rs, you guys had an agreement or sort of a deal with Sony, right?
No, that wasn't us.
Okay, it's good to say that.
Go there. Let me just like.
Your son, you just got blue balled, man. Anyway,
That's how we go home and get an email. Deal cancellation.
Something.
Okay.
So yeah, after high school we did
Yeah.
North, right? And then college happened almost immediately after like North success.
Yeah.
Like we got our letters and we had passed because like we went to those schools that pass, right? So
all of us did.
yeah, so we got like really good grades and got called for very technical courses.
Yeah.
So that's when our paths began to differentiate as a group
yeah.
because we all had a very different. We were in very different fields. Nelson was called for journalism. As you've heard, we were called for material science and computer science. Alan was called for aeronautical engineering. And Marv was called for civil. My sister was doing law. So those are very different paths, right?
And very
And different schools as well.
and
Only-
also very demanding courses.
Exactly. And me and Brian
Not
were the
really,
only ones who
though,
went to
Ben.
like
Wait, what do you mean actuarial science?
Not really.
Law?
I mean, it's only demanding if you're studying, but
That part. That is true. That is true.
Right. So yeah, we ended up in the same uni. And then eventually people sort of I could say found themselves.
Okay.
Because Alan became very into visuals, film, photography. So that's what he ended up doing.
That's the humanoid.
No,
Alan is nomad, by the way.
Okay, nomad.
humanoid ended up really being into production, sound, DJing.
I'm guessing these 6 guys are the ones you took a photo on KCC.
That photo is iconic.
It
Yeah.
is.
It should be in a
Truly.
museum.
Yeah.
That photo changed like
That's
Like-
the only way I knew these guys are from Kenya.
the
Yeah.
KICC
Yeah.
photo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was a very interesting point.
And
in
a very
time.
well thought out photo.
But like 2 years, like if you think about it, even like the
Yeah,
Different,
yeah. And the
it's
helipad.
like spread out
it's-
now because everyone is in
The
their
photo
own
has
field.
1,000
Yeah.
1,000 words.
And we didn't even know like that's
Yeah.
what it would
Yeah.
end up being. But yeah, everyone is in their own field, own path now.
Mhm.
And me and Brian are primarily like in music. Everyone else is on their path. So
Okay.
that's how it happened. We just sort of drifted apart in terms of our interests.
In terms of characterizing yourselves or like naming yourselves as musicians, would you say you have a genre or would like to be labeled a particular way in terms of the music that you do?
To be perfectly honest, we would we would not like to be labeled. but I understand that it's easier for someone who's consuming something to know, at least to be able to name that thing which they consume. So just with that in mind, we sort of went about jumping from already existing genres. On one interview, we'd say we do alternative. On the other one, we'd say we do alternative pop. The other one would say we do pop, and the other one would say we do urban. It was sort of like gallivanting about the mill for a while.
Okay.
Until we just got to a point where we decided we should probably just name what we do so that we get to define it as we go along. Kind of like just the name Mankind. We get to define it as we go along.
Yeah.
So we decided to give it a name. We coined it Afrofuzz. Because because the specifics of it are fuzzy. Like it's just it's uncertain. But the only thing that we know for sure is the Africans are making it. So
okay.
So just at this point, it's just that simple.
Afrofuzz.
Afrofuzz, yeah.
So that's
Don't take soda, guys. Bad joke. But continue.
It's actually fizzy.
Fizzy.
It's fine.
Okay.
fuzzy is like fuzzy
drinks.
logic.
Yeah.
Fuzzy, like
Now I'm smarter.
like hair, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm learning right now in a course called knowledge based.
you're learning about hair.
No, about fuzzy logic.
This is
Ah.
interesting.
Yeah, because
Wow.
when you tell a computer, when I tell you that guy is tall, you will understand what I'm telling you.
I will.
Or you'll have a picture of a
what
tall
tall
person.
is, yeah.
But a computer doesn't know that. So fuzzy logic defines it defines human attributes or human language to a computer level where, like binary, there is really no binary, but the computer can process boundaries and such and such. That's
Yeah.
fuzzy logic. So
Wow.
it's something that is really
That's
interesting.
beautiful. And just like that, we keep on. It's evolving.
I mean,
And I'll start saying that in interviews.
Oh,
That's what fuzzy means. It comes from my background in computer science. I did it for a whole year, you guys. Thanks.
So in terms of your music and the way you put it out and consumption and whatnot, and now that we've just talked about the algorithms and all that,
Yeah.
when you released the song in 2014 and up to now, that's 5 short years. Have you seen brief?
Yeah.
Have you seen a change in the consumption of music from a consumer's point of view in terms of from downloads, people
I
moving
know,
away
I
from
know,
the
I know
radio?
for a fact in 2014, we were not as big on things like Spotify and Apple
Music,
as we are now as a people.
Okay.
I don't know if as a world, like as a people, but as a nation, it wasn't such a big deal here.
Has that changed how you approach your music and how you approach
We
putting
approach
out,
our music.
and how you approach putting it out and marketing schemes and all that?
I
I
would
think
say
that's label.
I would say putting out you're partly correct on that. I would say putting it out at the process sort of it changes according to the market.
Okay.
So that hasn't just changed from 2014 to now. It changed from 2014 to 2015 to 16 to now, and it will not be the same next year.
Yeah.
Because humans have this stupid attribute called evolution. So they just it doesn't always happen in grand gestures. It happens in
slowly
tiny
by
bits.
slowly,
So
yeah.
next year someone might come up with a technology that allows us to experience music.
But what do you think is next after streaming?
That's a good question.
We had that discussion and I could not figure out anything.
For a while, to be honest, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be different versions of streaming. Because right now it's uninteractive.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So the next step in streaming might be interactive streaming. I don't want to get into that, but it could be.
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was yearning to say that word, but I was waiting for him to finish. Yeah, Black Mirror, just Black Mirror, and then
But yeah, it's hard to tell, at least from the outside, because for those of us who are not technological innovators or creators, or we don't get to understand what the next step will be until it's out.
Yeah.
So we're sort of on the outside. But approach to market changes with the market dynamics. It's always going to keep on evolving. But as per how we make the music, that changes on a personal level because of growth. I don't think we've ever at any point thought, we want to sell this, at least personally. Like it's never been end to beginning type thinking. It's not like this music will appeal to this, or let's make music that sounds this way.
Okay.
So is music happens, and then we'll figure out how to sell it.
Okay. You had I think it was a publishing deal with Sony.
No,
We still do. Yeah.
You still do. You're
Yeah.
still
Okay.
under Sony.
Yeah.
So
How does that work out with Pine Creek?
Well, publishing is very detached in a sense because they don't manage you. They don't
they don't tell you what to do.
like
Yeah.
It's just a publishing
go
deal.
to interviews with
Okay.
you. They don't like employ people to help you with your social
Mhm.
wardrobe. Basically releases. They don't handle any of that. They come in after you have a product
Yeah.
and they help you sell it in markets mostly where you can't,
Mhm.
where it's hard to take your product.
Penetrate. Okay.
Because most of these labels have very broad, I would say, connections across the globe.
Yeah.
So when they take your product, they have stores they can take it to because they have
Mhm.
relationships that have been built over years.
Yeah.
So when you take a publishing deal with them, it's basically like giving yourself distribution into
Okay.
markets you couldn't get into. But Pine Creek is more of artist management,
Mhm.
and they do most of the funding. So the products we make are funded by Pine Creek,
Oh.
and then they are sold in some markets
Mhm.
by Sony, mostly markets outside Kenya.
Okay. And I just forgot what I was going to ask, but
That happens, bro.
in
So that's a complicated kind of deal. So which one came
Not
first?
really.
Not
Was it
really, it's
Sony
not
or
really.
Pine?
Sony came first. Actually, no, we've known the owner of Pine Creek longer than we've.
Pine Creek has been a long-standing negotiation-ish type relationship,
Mhm.
and Sony was kind of like boom, boom, pap, like it just came.
Yeah.
You never thought about it twice.
No, we did, but
Because they say boom pop. That's it.
that space between boom and pap, that's
okay.
the thing.
There.
How
Okay.
how
Who called the shots? How did that happen? Like, okay.
Marv,
So,
you remember Marv?
Yeah.
Our friend from school. He's
Yeah.
the one who made that deal happen, which is amazing because he was very young when he did.
Mhm.
He did that. He was
Oh.
like 20, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
that's
He
interesting.
just reached out. They started a conversation. They
Mhm.
heard North, and they were like, "Fuck."
Yeah. We
Yeah.
need to sign this.
You
Literally.
guy.
actually had the meeting with these guys.
No,
or-
they had a meeting privately,
Mm.
Oh,
and they
okay.
called. They mailed us, and we had a Skype call, and the rest is history.
How did you guys operate? Does Sony have offices in Nairobi?
No,
Mm-mm.
they don't.
South Africa.
They usually send people.
Yeah,
Delegates.
Yeah.
yeah, they do.
Okay.
Every couple of, I think, years or months.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they don't. They only have an office, I think, in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Enough. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just in South Africa.
True.
And that handles Africa.
Yeah.
Because it's not really an intensive business where you need to
Yeah.
like go into an office every other day.
And did you get an advance in terms of
Publishing
Publishing-
advance. Tell-
a publishing
okay,
advance.
the
When
reason
you
we're
sign a
asking
publishing
is-
publishing
doesn't-
deal,
yeah.
you don't get an advance, bro.
no?
Yeah,
Okay,
there are
but
some
for
people who
example,
do.
some people do.
Yeah.
There's some people
for
who do.
publishing.
Yeah. Ethic.
Ah,
AI Records gave
Publishing
a
What's
publishing.
AI Records?
It's
It's under UMG. It's like a
oh yeah, I heard
subsidiary of UMG.
they bought it actually.
yeah, last year
Yeah.
70%.
AI are the
Oh, that's sad.
The UMG, man.
UMG is a beast.
different
And that
deals for
catalog
different.
they'll get,
Yo,
Yeah.
and
all
just-
the African music you can think of.
and they also they have a deal with the Boomplay.
Yeah,
Of course they do.
they're slowly creeping into the Kenyan and general
Africa.
African.
Wait, now let me ask you: since
Yeah.
you guys have a publishing deal under Sony,
Yeah.
has Songa Music approached you guys?
Because you could
I don't
build
think we're-
a good face for
The alternative sound in
Yeah.
Kenya.
Yeah,
Who knows what the future holds,
make
you
that
guy?
call and cut the
Yeah.
check.
Who knows?
yeah.
I don't know. Who knows what the future holds? But no, that call hasn't come yet.
Okay.
yeah, let's say that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but I would expect it to come because Songa and Sony they have something
Yeah.
going on. Yeah. Do you guys follow the music business in terms of the happenings and how the business works generally, the industry, the music industry?
You have to.
And how are you seeing, as you mentioned, with the deal with Sony? It's just it's a publishing deal, but it's also kind of like a distribution deal. How do you know how the lines have been blurred between publishing and distribution because of streaming, due to streaming?
Yeah, I feel like it's a new world, man.
Mhm.
To be honest, you actually don't really need a publishing deal anymore
Okay, yeah.
because you don't really sell CDs anymore.
Mhm.
So basically, if you can find a way to get your music on streaming platforms, and there are ways
Yeah.
that you can use without using a label,
Mhm.
Yeah.
then you don't really need them in placing the music there.
Mhm.
What they would help you with in this age is maybe in selling it
Playlists.
to playlist movies, games,
Mhm.
just like
Collecting your-
differentiating the product. That they still have that role, but
Yeah.
in terms of getting your product to market, you don't really need them anymore.
As young musicians and people who have a long journey ahead of them and like going far, and use and the part that the label plays in the music, do you guys feel like when you get to that point where you need to, I don't know whether you guys have thought about the point where it will get where you need to say start your own label and start bringing other artists under you. Have you thought about how the business and how the part that the label plays will have completely changed? Because as you said, you don't need a label anymore. So
the I guess all industry money works on the basis of middlemen. If there were no middlemen, then there would be no financial markets.
that's true.
So as long as money exists, there will always be middlemen. And that sort of gives places for things that aren't intrinsically necessary,
Yeah.
but they for some reason just manage to shape themselves in a way that they appear to be necessary. And I guess appearance is everything in this type of world. So
Yeah, perception.
in that way
Perception.
they become necessary.
Okay.
When that time comes in the future, when we get an opportunity to bring other people up with our resources,
Yeah.
it might not be in the traditional label structure, because a label is just a name. It's just a name that we use for a body that propagates music.
Yeah.
But we might call it that, but it does something completely different.
Yeah.
Because the market in a way has changed. How people consume music has changed. How people make music has changed.
Yeah.
So when that time comes to put other artists on, and that influence comes along, the one thing we know for sure is we will use it to do just that.
Okay.
How will depend on the time. It's like surgery. Surgery on a tumor specifically. You don't know how extensive it is until you've cut into the person.
Yeah.
So that's how I sort of see the music industry.
Okay.
Right now, we can only make this very undetailed plans about the future.
Just like we don't know what will come after streaming.
Exactly. We can make undetailed plans. We can make pillars, but the house has to be built in the moment.
But it's kind of to the point of the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, there never really will be a change. That's why I said I started with the base of it all is the reason there's a music business is because there's money.
Yeah.
And money requires middlemen. So how that is perceived in the future might change, but the fundamental is business requires middlemen.
Yeah. And
So, yeah.
you mentioned the alternative scene in Kenya,
Yeah.
a booming alternative scene. And for the past maybe 3-4 weeks, we've been speaking about
New Nairobi.
the new Nairobi scene. I would like to call it that because that's the name that it has been labeled.
I don't know, but all artists, okay, at least the ones I've interacted with, have this negative connotation of, or when I ask them, are you New Nairobi? Like
Let's
just-
first ask me,
What does it
to
mean,
mankind,
though?
are
New
you
Nairobi is
I don't
this
know what it
fresh breath of artists, not the usual,
and
like
the
you said,
and the
mainstream, right?
alternative, yeah, and the
Yeah,
alternative.
who
Okay.
sell vibes, who sell culture, who sell the dress code.
Yeah.
So with given those parameters,
Now that you have a definition,
yeah, given those parameters,
now that
is
we've
it-
given you the box,
yeah,
jump into it.
jump into it.
I don't know if you want to really be
In a box.
I always say think outside of it. I don't know why
Okay.
no one ever said just don't
yeah.
have a box to begin with.
Yeah.
I feel as though
But we have to name these guys. So that's the reason the
We
term was
don't
coined.
have to. It's just easier for us to consume things.
But you already see-
we already know.
Mankind are already Afrofuzz.
Yeah.
They're not even.
So
they're not
they
even
put
part
a
of-
box, they created a whole damn box.
They created.
And
They are the box.
It's not
They are
even
the box.
we didn't create the box. We are the box. I don't know about being called New Nairobi or part of like old heads, or it's just
yeah.
it has very little actual value. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
But you'd perform at a gig where
Most of these,
new
the
Nairobi.
alternative sound is.
You'd
part of-
perform
you see
there,
that's
right?
that's the thing.
No, I'm asking just
I
generally.
would like sharing a stage with other artists who identify as New Nairobi. That's not really a problem because I wouldn't know they're called New Nairobi to begin with.
Oh, okay.
But it's just I don't see it as a. Maybe one day it will be, because also as humans we have this tendency to underestimate things that have the ability to be, magnanimous with time.
Okay.
So maybe in the future, New Nairobi will be a thing that revolutionized how we perceive music, at least from Nairobi.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Blinky.
Oh, you saw the
Blinky.
joint he had with Goldie?
Hey, it's actually like so dope. And
It's a freestyle.
yeah, it's like it should have been longer, but that's a story for another
So
day.
that guy is just pushing boundaries. Anyway, let's talk about putting yourself in a position to win. So
That's a
reading,
good title for anything.
yeah.
Like a self-help group.
Yeah.
Number 3, putting
Exactly.
yourself in a position to win.
Anyway, so you took Eugene. You talked about Pine Creek financing your projects, right? And I'm reading an article on here, and British Council of East Africa. You guys got a grant, right? How did that happen? How
Really have been the recipients of many people's monies.
How did that happen?
the
Because
movie.
these artists,
the
you know,
movie.
you need to explain to them, like people, maybe someone who's listening to us, how do they put themselves in a position to get such a grant and further their music career?
Or their careers,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, not just music. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
multiple industries.
I would say in music or in any art form, there's always stakeholders in your industry who are willing to help.
Mm.
And most of the time, it's usually because of like a distortion in communication that people are not aware of all these opportunities that present themselves. So how we got the grant was they did an open call at the embassy where they invited every creative in the city to go and for this launch for the Nana Project's new art, new audiences, right? And they gave an open call and they were like, submit a project, an art project, which it can either be photography, music, film, architecture, fashion, as long as it's different styles combined.
Yeah.
And as long as the people in the project are from East Africa and you get one creative from London to collaborate on the project and you submit it, if it's a good project, you'll get a grant of the money you'll need to do the project, right?
So one person in your project had to come from London.
Yeah, you had to have a creative from London or from the UK. It could be Scotland,
Britain.
it could be Britain,
Yeah.
and one from your country, which is Kenya in our case,
Yeah.
and another East African country. So yeah, we were like, okay, we could do this. So we
Was this?
got to work. This is 2017.
Okay.
So we got to work, and we connected with a photographer from Tanzania called Ose Senari.
Via social media?
Yeah, via Behance actually.
Okay.
And a film guy from the UK called, the first guy we got was a guy called Justin. He's like a huge deal. I didn't know when I was like looking for him, but when I finally found him, I was like, yo, because he shoots for BBC and all these big documentaries.
For a moment, I thought you meant Justin Campos.
No. That guy from SA, right?
Yeah.
He's also really dope.
He's really good. And he works with his wife, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first guy we got, it didn't work out because he got called for a job. And then the second guy we got, Colin, also from London.
Colin Tilly.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
that would have been a sick movie. Yeah? But yeah, Colin Elves.
Okay.
He's based in London. We got £8,000 through the project. And we traveled, shot the film, made an EP as a score for the film. And
Damn.
it's one of my favorite projects that we've ever done.
So you guys are not just limited in terms of your creativity to music.
No,
What other ventures are you into right now?
I'm really into film
Mm-hmm.
and photography.
So are you working on any film?
You bet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a yes.
Yeah, that's a yes.
Is it though?
But what do you think
This is
about
what we call reasonable doubt.
Brian is the most cynical one now. I can already
Reasonable
tell.
doubt.
Is it?
I am the most optimistic person in this room.
But what do you think about the Kenyan film industry?
I love
in the
what's
sen-
happening in the industry.
So you're a creative. You're not just Mankind is not just a group that does music. You're creative.
At least we'd like
Capsule.
to think so. Yeah, we'd definitely
Okay.
like to.
And Brian, he said film and you and photography and you.
I like those same things. Maybe with not the same intensity.
Yeah.
I don't get as passionate, but
Are you trying to say
Definitely.
Eugene sleeps with the camera?
one camera.
Okay.
In the arts, I love just the entire. For me, music is at the heart of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most tangible art form. I think the others, whilst so, like film is extremely immersive, but I feel music it's unremovable from the human experience. Like it's just we can't exist without it.
Yeah.
We can't sort of exist without film. We can just see each other.
Yeah.
And if you want to save, a girl by jumping from one bridge to another with a car, you can try. You'll die though. Don't try that.
Yeah.
I was quoting Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's not what I'm
but
talking about.
just I feel like music cannot be removed from the fabric of our existence
Because it's rhythm.
and it's life. Music is just
The heartbeat is a
yeah,
rhythm.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just a music nerd. I love music all the way. That I love film too. I sort of appreciate fashion, but I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like it's an industry built of shame. So
Shame.
yeah,
Expound.
like the original emotion of clothes is shame. It's just hiding
Okay.
the nakedness. So I went way back to why
Adam.
are there
The
clothes?
Adam, yeah.
Why are there clothes? So I guess just we've made shame stylish. And I appreciate that we get to look stylish, but we're still ashamed.
This is about to turn into a philosophical
Yeah.
podcast.
So I guess
Took a tangent.
that's the origin of, and that's when it took a tangent. You can just see it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the origin of my love-hate relationship with fashion.
So okay, yeah. So
But
about
I like when people look dope. I always make a point to tell someone when they have something fantastic on,
Yeah.
or when I look fresh, I feel like I look fresh. It's just amazing.
So what does okay, let me ask this. Do you see yourselves as music ever being not let me say your primary source of income, like how you make a living?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know about
primary.
Like yeah.
But
if
definitely
if
one
you go
of-
to your
I just recently found out that even Ecclesiastes teaches to diversify. I'm like,
No, I'm
you
not
do
talking
not
about
know what shall happen to the planet.
I didn't say
paraphrase.
the only. I
Yeah.
said the
Primary.
main, like yeah.
To be honest, I think for a time it will be. Like it's just because
So
everything will
time
be
thing.
stemmed
Yeah.
Around the music.
The music.
Okay.
So, and I'm very, very excited for that period because it started now and inshallah it'll stretch for a couple more years. We'll get our time in the spotlight for a while.
Being artists in Kenya and having traveled around the world and seeing how other artists live, can you say that there's somebody in Kenya who enjoys that privilege of having music be their primary source of income?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And where do they get their money? Because that's the question.
I know.
everybody asks.
For instance, let me take the most quintessential.
Oh, quintessential.
Quintessential.
Yeah, that sounds
Take
like
Sauti Soul. That's just a cool way of saying the most,
Obvious.
obvious
Yeah.
example. So some Sauti Soul, they have a lot of brand endorsements around them,
yeah.
which is stemmed from their influence, which is stemmed from their music.
Those niggas made people drink Chrome.
Which is whack though.
Yeah.
The funny thing, I tell you a story about they had a launch, a Chrome
And that's
launch.
how Chrome will never like.
Those guys,
Like one time they said Chrome was whack. Sorry for interrupting you.
These guys are doing a Chrome launch.
Yeah.
I think it was in Buruburu.
Look,
And-
now, okay.
Backstage, these guys are drinking. I'm not gonna mention the brand, of course, but
But they're not
So-
drinking Chrome.
exactly. So I was like, okay, so you guys are not taking. Nah,
Yo,
this is just for the
you're
show.
talking about
man.
the homies.
Yeah, I'm talking about the homies.
We probably shouldn't put. Is this live? We probably shouldn't put their business out like that, bro.
But the Chrome deal ended.
Yeah.
They
Like
already
2
did?
months. Yeah, 2 months
okay,
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
That
in
one-
case they're renegotiating there.
I think they had been negotiating.
Yo, you should stay out of the business, man. Don't mess with another black man's money.
But it's my word against theirs. So I
They're like, he's a liar.
He's a liar. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's he?
But yeah, I get that. It's just not fly.
Yeah.
But when you're hot, you can make anything hot. So
I mean,
Will you do an endorsement with something like probably cigarettes? If you don't do cigarettes, no.
not cigarettes.
Okay,
Nah.
something else.
I
not
understand.
cigarettes.
I've studied the statistics on cigarettes. That's not something I want to
Okay,
be involved in at all.
Even if they slap you like
a bag.
And that's
bag.
exactly what they would do. Still no, they can keep their money.
that's you. What about Eugene?
Probably not. I mean, I'm
Probably
even
not.
like uncomfortable with like doing alcohol promotion.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
You're not for the idea.
no, not at all.
I mean,
feel like
Calligraph doesn't take alcohol, and he promotes all these brands anyway.
I
He only
mean,
has one
that's
vodka, but I've never even seen that drink anywhere.
He did Belair, he did Aristoff.
Where have you seen Harry stuff? Have you seen Harry stuff?
I don't go out much, but I've not seen it.
You've seen it in music videos.
Yes.
That's the first time I'm hearing something called that.
Yeah.
Yo, you
I was
need
like,
to,
that's Christoph's
you need to be
alcohol brand.
everyone thought that. I don't know.
Yeah, but
You
like,
need to be in tune with these endorsements. You never know.
There's certain endorsements that will be and are for us. I'm a strong believer in you get what's for you.
Okay.
So
Something
I'm
like
not-
what?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. If these industries that usually take out 6 million people and have to reclaim their market by addicting more people, there's human repercussions. There's just a moral
also it's
repercussions.
from a moral standpoint.
It's from it's just I can't resolve it within myself. I don't have a problem with people who do it. I just within myself I can't.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't reconcile the two.
a bank.
Banks endorse people.
Yeah.
Sauti Sol
Sauti
have
Sol.
a- have
See,
Oh,
me
you
and-
mean like oh yeah, that's kind of dope though. They
Insurance-
have this loop thing.
Yeah.
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 CBA
There's so
loop.
many vices. I know. It's
Yeah.
like from all
It's
standpoints.
if you like
Yeah,
sort
but
of,
that's
sort
like,
of it's yeah, exactly. That's why I said like I can't just reconcile it. If I could within myself, then probably do it. For example, a bank has many downsides.
Yeah.
But it's from an extremist point. It's not from a like
okay.
we're
Yeah,
not
I
going
see.
to kill you
Yeah.
today. Like you might put your money with us, we'll invest it. You might get interest tomorrow. There might be an
There
economic
are a lot of
depression.
mights.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might lose it.
That's
you know?
insurance too.
Yeah, insurance is the
We
business
might
of
go under
fear.
receivership.
But in okay,
Like I genuinely appreciate the hoax of insurance. That's
insurance
just,
companies
that's
are
a,
the biggest scam.
That's just a
Like, I-
Don't
brilliant
forget
hoax.
hedge funds. That's now that's the father of all scams. But
It's like
continue.
fam, your house could catch fire.
Yeah.
We don't know whether it will catch
Exactly.
fire.
Cool.
But you don't
In
want
fact, it's
that to
all
happen.
your houses will catch fire.
But we don't know when that will happen.
Are you
Yeah.
interested
Just
with this
spare.
bundle?
Just
Are
spare.
you
us.
Yes, to
interested?
keep this money for you.
Yeah.
Let us worry about.
And then you have to
As you
prove to
focus.
us that you didn't burn your
That
house.
you did burn your house. You have to prove to
burn
us
my house.
that your house that your car didn't roll.
Yeah.
And you know, like you
So
are,
in that way,
wow.
I appreciate the hoax of insurance. It's just played to our biggest insecurities as a race of humans. But
Yeah.
but I don't know. I can sort of reconcile myself with something like insurance or banking. But something that's just death. Just death in a classy
Yeah.
role.
So now that you've mentioned that you don't like you're against or you're not comfortable with alcohol and cigarettes, what vices does mankind engage in?
Hey, you guys,
besides
chai,
music?
my G, chai.
yeah,
Kwanza,
yeah,
uji.
caffeine and
And what?
maybe sugar. But I'm
So you do
trying
Red
to-
Bull. So you do Red Bull.
Monster. He looks like
Monster.
a monster guy.
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Monster's
An
not even
endorsement
in
with
stock,
Red
right?
Bull.
Yeah.
You do an endorsement with Red Bull.
Yeah.
Alright.
I like what they're doing with music actually.
Okay, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
like
I would love to work with Red Bull.
Red Bull is very dope in that way.
What does mankind do besides outside for fun outside of music?
Ooh.
I read
Ideally,
a
like
lot
today,
of books.
What were you guys doing before you came?
For the
interview.
yeah.
Never been asked that. It's fantastic. Fantastic question.
good
Today
question.
before we came, in the morning, I worked out in the morning. He worked out later, and then I read a little bit of Chimamanda's book. I'm reading Purple Hibiscus right now.
Purple hibiscus.
Yeah, love Chimamanda. Oh my!
I don't know.
God.
I don't like her.
I know so many people are saying it, but I
don't like her
can't.
style.
I'll tell you writing.
What?
How many?
I thought you said
which book have
hairstyle.
you read?
It was an anthology that I read. I don't remember. Head on her chest or something.
I haven't read that one yet. American is a story.
American is a story. But I don't know. I just don't like. There's a way.
I like her. She has great detailing, especially when she's telling from second person, because she takes up a character. She doesn't tell the story from the outside. At least in Purple Hibiscus.
Okay, that's
She becomes one of the characters. Like in Purple Hibiscus, she's Kambili, the youngest daughter. And she just takes you through this journey of her coming to be this awkward, shy daughter of a totalitarian Christian dad who was taught by. It's just so detailed. And then she tells the entire story from her eyes.
Yeah.
And makes sure to stick to her biases.
This is kind of random.
Yeah.
But since we're all here and we can identify with this, so Google decided to honor Margaret Ogola for her birthday.
Yeah. Shout out to Google.
Shout out to Google.
Wow, that's amazing.
The River and the Source. I believe.
Yeah.
You read.
Yeah.
We all read that book.
Yeah.
And yesterday you were at a book launch, yeah?
Yeah. Ngugi wa Thiong'o.
Yeah.
Googie has a new book. Is
Yeah.
it
That's
Kikuyu?
you, yeah.
No. It's
that, yeah.
it's a nini. It's what is it?
biography
A collection. Yeah, like his memoirs. Yeah. So
Okay.
it was very interesting, and it's the same thing where these old guys, because he's 81 now.
Yeah, he's
I
an
think
OG.
yesterday was his birthday. Those old guys have stories.
They do.
Like you can just sit with that guy and you'll just have
That's
stories for
entertainment.
days.
Like
Yeah, just
grandpa and chill.
just the same way
I like that.
when I was leaving this week from here,
Yeah.
and then I got into a matatu, and the guy who was sitting next to me was an old man,
Yeah.
and he only had his thumb,
Oh shit.
like
of
his left
all fingers
hand. Like you could like literally see this second bone. I don't know what bone this is, and he just looking at him, he looked like a stone cold killer. Like he looked like he has.
Mau.
Yeah, he looked like he has war stories in him.
Yeah.
Like you can look at this.
You
guy,
can
like,
write
yeah,
a movie.
he can even kill you with that one thumb.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yo,
he's been practicing, bro. He can do push-ups with.
that's why I was like, old niggas are like the best.
They are. Just there's something about. There's something I appreciate that writers can do. Basically, sink into a role, like become someone else. Chimamanda has this talk she does on TED, and she talks about the danger of a single story, and it exists on many levels. But on the surface, she was talking about how people in the outside world look at Africa.
Okay.
But on a personal level, it's also very dangerous to see the world from just your point of view.
Oh yeah.
So
That's why
it's-
reading is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate writers that can sink into one person, a role, and then just guide you through their biases, which is why I like Mark Twain as well. Because I was reading Huckleberry Finn before I was reading this.
That's a nice book.
And he was Huck. Like he was purely Huck. Like I remember after reading the first few pages, I told him, I feel like Mark Twain had daddy issues because it's like a recurrent theme in every one of his
got
books.
personal.
Yeah, there's just a father who's very abusive towards the child, and it's almost always the opus of the book, the character in which the book is centered around.
Yeah.
And he always takes that voice. He's always the pooper. He's always he's always Huck, or he's always Tom Sawyer. So he's always just, I love people who
Yeah,
can.
Tom Sawyer was such a wonderful book. When I read it.
But Huck
but I think
trashed him.
out of the classical writers, I would say my favorite was is it David Copperfield? Is there such a writer?
I'm not sure. That sounds like a magician.
That's not a book.
It's a magician.
That's a book written
That sounds
by
like an actor.
I don't know. There's a book called David Copperfield.
Is
I don't
it about the
remember
magician? Because
No.
David Copperfield was a magician. The guy who disappeared in Vegas and then appeared in the middle of the city. If I'm not wrong, I think it was David
But
Copperfield.
all those are just illusions.
That's Chris Angel.
Okay. Fine.
That was that we were off on a tangent. We went into African writers, but you were telling us what you did before you came here.
Right. I read a little bit of the Purple Hibiscus, and then I usually go on YouTube because I like watching these conversational videos.
Okay.
Like Jubilee has this.
Oh yeah, Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Yeah,
not
they
the
have
political party.
Oh, okay.
never the political party. There's just the channel has just the best conversations. Like I watched this one about was it prostitutes and preachers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that, I don't know what, I don't think it's Jubilee, but it's one of those Jubilee-esque channels where it's a rabbi, a priest, and an atheist.
That sounds like the beginning of a joke.
I saw that.
Smoke weed together. And they actually sit down and smoke weed together. And it was actually so cool. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I love those just getting
like-
to see the world through people's eyes. And then it sort of just takes the weight off of my biases as I go along.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
So what does your YouTube search look like? Since we're
Well,
talking
it
about
has
this?
Algorithms.
it has my recommend bar. I'm sure right now it has something from Jubilee.
Okay.
I'm sure it has the new jam from what's it called? Dreamville. The new 2 jams.
Okay.
And reactions to that jams. What else? I'm sure there's a BBC documentary somewhere there. Probably a Go documentary.
Vice. You watch Vice?
I watched a few videos on Vice, but for some reason it just didn't.
Didn't connect.
Yeah,
Didn't
I didn't
just didn't do it for you.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but I appreciate the what's it called the detailing in some of their videos. They go in.
Yeah.
Vice goes in. I just
BBC,
couldn't.
is it the one they do witchcraft? Like so they followed a witchcraft, not a witchcraft,
They
a
do have
night runner.
stupid
A night
stories
runner,
like that,
yeah.
Night runners are cool niggas.
Yeah,
Yo, what
they
did you say? Yo, bro. Chill out,
can't be
man.
offending my people like that shit, man.
Eugene, what are you?
Eugene.
What does your YouTube look like?
Yeah.
My YouTube's very standard. Film. It's either movie trailer
Film Riot.
or like a movie review.
Movie scenes.
Then a bit of conspiracy. There's always a bit of conspiracy.
Okay.
Um,
I feel like those always like search you out. Like
But,
you
like,
don't always go looking
yeah,
for them.
they just come.
They come to you.
Like there's this. What was I looking for? And then I saw. What's this guy's name? I think he's called David Icke.
yeah.
You know him.
the reptilian guy.
Yeah, the reptilian guy.
Yeah,
and
you know
and
David Icke.
I sat there for a whole freaking hour. And I'm like, he does have a point. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I see where all this is coming from.
I don't like how aggressive they usually are. That's just my problem. I don't know
Oh,
why
yeah,
they're
yeah, like,
so
I'm
emotional
right, all
about
of
it.
you
Yeah.
don't know
Like
shit.
I understand there's a frustration that comes when you
Yeah,
know
like-
some shit. And then apparently no one else in the room seems to hear the language you're saying.
Yeah.
There's a frustration.
Yeah.
But when you're so emotional about it, it sort of it steals from what you're saying.
Because halfway through the video, that's what I was feeling. I was
Yeah.
like, I found like,
Like,
okay,
why are
I
you
see.
pissed
Yeah,
at me?
like, I mean,
What did I do to you?
you're all stupid. I'm like, fam,
Shit.
okay, it's like,
I'm gonna go to a channel that makes me feel okay about myself.
Jubilee.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Wow. Okay. That's where you will end up. But that's, I think, where you will end up after like 3 hours of.
Yeah, I usually see those comments and then I go through the comment section. Then someone is like, "Yo, I was just watching a video about how did I end up here." Like I can relate.
And it's usually, I think it's usually you see these America's Got Talent shits, these emotional shits are the
Yeah.
ones that you end, like you're there for 2 hours and then you just,
Oh yeah, the Got Talent usually have me for a while, man. And it's like, let me just see this one performance. And
Oh,
then,
are you wait, let me ask.
7.
Now let me ask you guys. Are you going for East Africa's Got Talent as mankind?
You should go.
5 million. Can you ship them?
Up for grab.
there are better ways to make money, but
Oh, okay.
it's just
It's like gambling in a way, right?
Is
yeah.
it?
Not really.
I feel like it's
Most of these like talent shows, they make money from advertising, right? That's
Yeah.
like so like they're basically gambling platforms with a twist in a way, because there's like so many people apply for them,
Yeah.
like ton,
Yeah.
you know. And usually, sure, we could say like they pick the most talented, but they pick the most
Entertaining.
the guy who will give them the most clicks or on and ads. So.
Yeah. I feel like it's you know those old jockey stories, like city clowns. I feel like that's the type of setting. It's just a bunch of people with as weird talents as you can humanly conceive.
Okay.
Are given a platform, so the masses at the marketplace can enjoy them. So it's just like a modern version.
So you're
of,
saying,
a circus.
okay,
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeesh, that show used to creep me out.
That show was fucking creepy.
That show
yes,
was
and I used to enjoy the fuck out of it.
just so y'all know, I used to love that show.
But Ripley's was like dope. And
I remember that episode where there was this guy who like surgically tweaked his face to look like was it leopard or a cheetah?
Yeah, some shit like that.
Yeah?
And even got tattoos.
Oh,
my
man.
goodness. And even got
Even whiskers, man.
And whiskers.
The cringe.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Okay, how do you tell your parents?
You-
Am I not even your parents, your family?
Yeah.
Just generally. By the way, I'm done with being mankind.
I'm just about to tattoo my face as a cheetah.
I'm done with being part of this mankind.
That'll just suck.
I'm becoming a cheetah.
How? And that's crazy.
I think you don't. I don't think you tell them. I think you just do it,
But
and then they hear about it when they watch Ripley's
No,
Believe It or Not.
the thing is, like, such people, you'll actually find they have like such loving life partners,
Yeah.
like girlfriends and boyfriends, and
Who love them for whatever they are.
yeah, it's like fam.
Pieces of shit.
What are we doing?
Like, babe, let's just ground rules.
Yeah.
None of us is changing the identity from human to anything. And then I can love you for anything you are within your
shit.
humanity.
That was
Hillbillies.
Ripley's was actually. I've even forgotten what we were talking about.
Okay,
No,
let's
he
get-
was telling us about his YouTube.
yeah.
yeah.
Is-
Right.
Oh, you had
what did I-
conspiracies.
Conspiracies, film, music. I listen to a lot of music,
Yeah.
mostly on Apple, but also on YouTube. Colors, like I'm really
Oh,
into
yeah,
that
Colours.
channel. Yeah, I found a lot of like good stuff there.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, ads. I really
It's
enjoy
colourful.
ads.
You've
I
not
can
blocked your
already-
ads.
No. Like I look for ads.
Oh, okay.
Well, the rest of us are usually bombarded with them.
Because you're a filmmaker.
Yeah. And ads are very well done, especially.
Yeah.
He's talking about real ads, though.
Yeah, but like I mean, like
not
So what's
that
your best
you
ad?
can
The Sprite
click.
ones?
Yeah, Coke does amazing ads.
and car ads are actually
because VW.
Local,
only
do you
reason-
think the ad scene is as advanced
no
as
fuck.
say?
Have you seen my yo? What the fuck?
Yo, no.
Get that shit out of
Did
my.
you see Tusker Light? That was a dope
Okay,
ass
okay,
ad.
okay.
That
I
was a
think
dope ass
it
ad.
dabbles in both. Like it has certain
Both extremes.
Yeah, it's heading more towards class, but there's still ujinga happening.
Yeah, the milk
Because
ad that I was
Safaricom
saying.
do one great ad and then they do some other stupid ad and you're like, what is? Decide,
Yeah.
make a choice.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of both, I would say.
It's the dollars. So you look. The only way I know that
I think
Kenyan
it's the
ads are
target
shit.
market.
Kenyan ads
It's
are
like-
like pure.
Who will relate to this well done ad? Who will relate
Yeah.
to this
That
shambolic ad?
Can I ask a question about that though? I've always felt as if people could be smarter if you allowed them the opportunity to be smarter.
But they can't.
So do you guys think the people relate to those ads because those are the ads that are available, not because the people can see that these are the best we could actually do? And if that's the case, then if you gave them just as entertaining ads but better productions, better better shots, better class, better scripts, would they not be as relatable as
But imagine putting what's this the lady who did Serikali Naumia in a budget, throwing her into a budget that's probably
I'm
10,
glad,
20 million.
I'm glad that guy was fired. I don't know whether he was, but I think he was.
Yeah.
Because they only did one ad that looked like that.
Spam.
So imagine putting all that, the efforts, financial efforts into maybe selling a product, maybe serikali. What were they selling? Credit?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Or minutes.
And
or
you're trying to
something
sell
like that.
to someone probably who's buying 20 shillings.
Yeah.
Average. They spend 20 shillings every day on their airtime. So you see, it doesn't really, it's not return on investment. Yeah.
I can understand
get-
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel to a certain degree that most large companies work on the economies of scale.
Yeah.
So they're not just interested in that one person.
Yeah.
They're interested in
The masses.
Because Safaricom have a customer base of 30 million.
Yeah.
So imagine if we all spent 20 bob every day on our credit. That's still okay. So if they spend 20 million on an ad and that runs every other day, and then they get 20 million of us to buy 20 bob every day for 365 days, they're not losing anything. It's just smart business. Now, if they can put that 20 million,
if they can save an extra coin, an extra
it makes
10 million.
sense. Yeah, because you made me aware of something that Safaricom doesn't borrow money. So
Yeah. Why should they borrow? And their returns are usually
it's always smart to borrow money. It's cheaper to advance with borrowed money.
But
Okay.
I actually, even for a while, for the past year, I was thinking, I thought that M-Pesa is the biggest income provider for Safaricom, only to find out it's just selling airtime that gives them the most money.
Thanks to me.
Pepper is the one who told me, and I was so shocked. And I was like,
That's not their
"What
primary source of
fuck?"
that's not their
it's not
business.
primary.
And you
Yeah.
think that M-Pesa is like
You'd be shocked.
It does have its returns.
M-Pesa?
It has an added advantage because
Yeah. But anyway, this about now we've gone from philosophy to
business,
all over the place.
advertisements.
And this is all because of your YouTube channel, bro. YouTube channel is sparking conversations, bro.
Would you be excited to do a colors
Yeah,
of your own?
definitely.
Dope.
Produce one. I'd love to produce shows.
Okay.
I feel like there's just a lot of bureaucracy in our media. That's
Okay.
why we don't have good content.
Even locally, shooting in locally
Yeah.
is just too expensive.
It's too
man.
expensive.
Yeah.
And they, most of the time people don't recognize that ads and media, as much as they give entertainment and information, they also engineer the society. Like there's social engineering going on. And sometimes what's on TV or radio or the papers often is because someone wants it to be on the papers for a certain goal. So if your show
agenda setting theory.
exactly, because media is used to shape society. So sometimes you have a really good show that you want to pitch to a media house. But
Yeah.
how are they going to benefit in that way? How are we programming people, so to speak? So that's how most dope shows, even music or like just
The ANR point.
exactly, they try and distort and push a certain message.
That's why there's always a mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to fit into the
You guys have
mainstream.
creative control, right?
Yeah, we do.
Full. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Dope.
you
That's dope.
just do the song and tell
Take it to
Pine
the
Creek,
next.
So I said,
yeah,
when we're done with the music, then we figure out how to sell it. Yeah.
So
Dope, man.
that's the process. But on your weekends, what are you up to?
Still reading books.
Family.
Family.
Yeah, I've made that a habit.
Where you were born or the one you created?
Where I was born, my mom's, my nephew.
That's important.
my sister.
You need to like separate the two. Like, yo.
Is it the family you created or the one that you
babies actually?
Okay.
Yeah, the one where I was born.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it grounds me.
At this level,
Yeah.
other groupies.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's surprising, but they're there.
Why are you surprised, man?
Because like, in terms of where we are,
I mean, you're
I
stars.
didn't
you know
expect it
Uh-huh.
to happen this early.
That's what they all say, even
Yeah.
Drake. I didn't
So is it
expect.
like, oh my goodness, you're so and so from Mankind, or is it like Instagram, social
It's
media?
both.
Is it
It's both live and online.
Mhm.
I recently it recently came out in my class that I'm the mankind guy. In college.
Okay,
Man.
that's
It's
bad.
leaked, you know.
I was hoping you'd have at least.
I was very low key.
I was hoping you'd have at least.
I mean, you
a
don't wear
idea.
hats.
The hat guy sitting at the back, comes in, takes notes, and leaves.
I'm guessing
Dude at the back of the
Brian
class.
embraces more of the mankind.
Of
You
that?
know, of the like, I'm the guy from mankind. Yeah.
I embraces it more.
Yeah.
You're more out there.
Yeah.
I wish that were true. I don't. I have zero footprint on social media to begin with, and I guess I'm learning. I'm getting better at attention
Okay.
as time goes by, but I'm still trash at it. It's just I'm still just trash. So I'm not very like like I'm always trying to like finish those conversations. Like, oh, you're that guy from Mankind. Aren't you too? I'm just always deflecting, just trying to make sure that the attention is off me. It's a habit I'm trying, because I know it's a compliment and someone is not trying to come to me to talk about them. So, well, some people are.
Weirdest DMs you've ever got?
Wildest.
Yeah, you take
I
this.
forgot.
I don't know.
Forgot how open podcasts were. Jeez.
Someone once sent you their bra on Instagram. So
Yeah, man. Like,
Damn.
Have you started signing autographs on body parts?
not yet.
Not yet.
and
Okay.
that happened
That
before you
happened.
were stars. Like it's gone down.
You get a few interesting messages on Instagram. Instagram is wild. yo.
Instagram
On
is
your
the
personal
wild,
page or
wild
the-
On my
west.
personal page.
They can't send that to
I'm about
mankind.
to
They know.
start, like
I
not
think they know.
tagging the photos, because like usually tag,
Okay.
so you can just click the photo and like go to the personal page. Yo,
Yeah.
my DM. But I guess it's all right. I mean, even though like morally
Okay.
it's not right to just be that loose, but
According to
I
who?
feel like the attention, it's good that people are finally like recognizing like good stuff, good content and all that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Dope, man.
Interesting.
I mean, at least
Have we covered
nobody is
every-
asking.
Have we
nobody-
covered everything?
Not
Yeah.
yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, bruh.
Oh,
I have a
shit.
couple of questions I want to ask, man.
Okay.
Whips out
So
a
you guys
list.
took a hiatus, like musical hiatus, yeah?
Yeah, you can say
So
that.
what were you up to during that period?
It wasn't really an intentional hiatus, to be honest. It was just a consequence of life happening at the time. That was like, you know how all movies have this like center point where it's like a serious dip,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah,
emotionally,
yeah.
and then you're just sad for everyone in the movie, including the mailman, and just showed up once, but for some reason they elicit such lucid emotions.
Yeah.
So that was that period in our lives, that hiatus period. We were just going through so much. We didn't have any of these deals. Right? Yeah, we didn't have any of these deals. We just dropped out of college. Our parents were not our friends. So that hiatus was
expected.
basically us embodying our low point. It was just us,
Taking it in.
yeah. And then when we were at a reasonable place, we started making music. We started making the album.
As artists, how critical are you of criticism, or say, oh, your shit sucks and such, and maybe you've not received that, but how critical are you of when making
Does
the
it
song?
get to you?
Yeah.
Or you formed a thick skin?
It depends though.
Uh-huh.
I mean, some people don't even like consciously know why they're saying that.
Okay.
So like, why should I listen to you? But if it's like someone who actually cares about what I do and is invested in it and like is experienced in it, I'd listen. If it's like an OG who's made music, who I've looked up to, who's given me advice before, who wants the best for me, yeah, I'd definitely give it an ear. But like, if it's criticism that is not based on anything, like on online, that online like,
Yeah.
bro, I don't like your shit.
Yeah.
That stuff, those trolls. I don't give a fuck about that though. Because
Okay.
it's just it's not based on anything.
Yeah.
It's just part of like
Banter.
the this generation is just a troll, like
Yeah.
racist troll generation. So
Are musicians generally sensitive people?
not really.
I'm not sure about musicians. I can only speak for us. I mean myself personally.
Are you
It depends on what.
sensitive in that sense of
Criticism.
you've created something and you've put it out and
Oh, you mean artists?
yeah, artists
Yeah,
generally.
Oh.
You sit
I
with
think-
something and think it's the best, but once it's out,
No, yeah.
yeah.
But I sort of as time goes by, I sort of grow out of it. In the moment, yes, like after we're done, just like this is the best song ever. This is the best like a beat we've ever made.
Yeah, you
It's
played.
just-
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but
You don't second doubt yourself, like, okay, how are these people gonna react?
that's what happened. No, never with people. At least not with me. I don't have people in my
Even for your
objective
first
view.
project, the one that was it 2014?
Especially for our first project, to be honest.
okay.
That was
Those are the ones you don't think. Those
yeah,
are the
no,
ones-
Like
Hey,
throughout.
hey,
same one.
Okay.
So I guess that the removing myself from the product comes after. Then I can look at it objectively. Maybe this will work at a certain time, just in terms of getting it to people.
Okay.
Because at least ultimately, I look at the market as at least the path to market as a way to get music to people who need to hear it. And we kind of need to be intelligent with how we do it.
Yeah.
Because you might put a great song out and then the person who really needs to hear it might never get to it because you didn't push it hard enough or you didn't push it in the right direction or in the right way. So I guess once that like hype
Yeah.
of making the product dies down, I can look at it objectively as to, okay, now my goal is no longer to make it, it's to get it to the people who need to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you get your influences from? Let's start with Eugene.
My influences used to be very musical. I had a long list of people I listened to who ended up in the art I created. But over
Was
time,
Coldplay part of?
definitely.
Yeah, I could tell
really-
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I still kind of do like Coldplay, but like of late, I've sort of shedded my musical influences in terms of I don't listen to the music I used to listen to as much as I used to listen to it. These days, I draw inspiration and influences, so to speak, mostly from like just living, like life experiences, seeing other people like live their lives. Like in the morning when I was going to like get breakfast, I saw this kid who I'd seen yesterday. He hit a ball into our apartment. Like I gave it to him and he was like, "Thank you." And I didn't expect that. So I was like, yo, this is a cool kid. Like who taught him like courtesy. right? And then the next day, like today, when I went to get breakfast, I saw him with his puppy. Like he's a poor kid. Like he's from like the slums and shit, but like he's so full of life and he's so engaged in his life. You know, most of the time you think these people like beaten down by the society.
Circumstances.
But yo, this guy has lived very full lives.
Yeah.
And that's where my inspiration for art these days comes from. Like seeing
Your
people.
surroundings.
Yeah, my surroundings.
Okay.
Yeah, and the books I read.
That's
Okay.
very, very beautiful, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
man.
actually
Yeah.
Just a decent
that's
human
deep.
being.
Yeah.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Both
thank you
of
for
them.
saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay,
Try my whole
and Brad.
life to be my influences.
Yeah.
I guess you could tell from how much I started ranting about Chimamanda.
Yeah.
My influences are mostly writers. I love writers. Chimamanda. Like a couple months ago, I just started reading Wole Soyinka's poems.
Oh, okay.
I love James Baldwin. Oh, I love James Baldwin.
Jim, what has he written?
Oh my
No, don't go into a rant, but just tell me a book.
Have you seen the meme of someone doing this?
So that wasn't like you should know this. No, he's dead. He's been dead a long time. But yeah, he was a gay reformist activist writer in the 80s.
Okay.
In America, like in pre what's it called, civil rights America.
That's the
So
50s.
Oh, he died in the 80s. Sorry,
Okay.
it was in the 50s.
His prime was in the 50s.
It's actually all through.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just like his writings are so like they work so well for today. And I love the the unlimitedness of, that's not a word, but I love the unlimitedness of writing. Like a story like To Kill a Mockingbird, written, it came out in 1935. But
Yeah.
that same story was relived by the what's it called? This movie that people are making noise about on Netflix right now.
The
Something
one
5.
with MGK.
When they see us. When they see us.
Oh, that's not the one.
Okay.
I'm talking about Bad Box.
Bad box.
No, but
Okay.
so that same story was basically a thread into To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's almost 100 years later, and it's still true.
And give Eminem a huge song.
Yeah. So I writers do it for me. Yeah. And then some musicians, I actually don't listen to that much music, which
Really?
I know is just weird. I just
No,
I don't
but
listen.
I understand that because many musicians actually take time away and just come up with weird things, and it's like when it comes out to the world, it's like, this is so weird, but it's so dope still.
Yeah.
And locally within our spectrum, do you even, doesn't have to be musically, do you look up to anyone with how they run their business, how they carry themselves, how they perform?
I don't know about looking up to, but I appreciate certain people.
Okay.
I
he's very careful with his words.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is how you die.
Okay. Sauti Sol, I'm guessing.
Oh, I do love what I appreciate most about Sauti Sol is the permission. Because even in I guess it was in the 1940s, people didn't know it was possible to run 100 or 400 meters in less than 40 seconds. They didn't know it was possible until the first person did it. And then in the next race, his record was beaten. And then the race after that was beaten. So the human race is often limited by our ability to imagine what's possible. And Sauti Sol sort of gave generations that will follow them permission. They were like, oh, so you guys existed in a space with great disorder, and nothing could come out of this and then make it a more international platform. And then they were like, oh, really now?
Yeah.
So they did it, and that gave someone else, that gave let's say who? To be honest,
Benzo.
everyone in their label permission to just do the same thing. And then people like Just a Band who just lived on the alternative scene completely. And they give people like us permission to be as different as we desire to be.
Yeah.
So I admire people like that. I also admire Wanja.
Wanja Wahora?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Wanja moves like she has all the resources in the world, and she just has this very tangible impact, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I love her Matriarch album.
Yeah.
It's really,
how
it's really
the
dope.
rollout, the everything was so wonderfully thought out. And I appreciate when people move like they have all the resources in the planet. Yeah.
Are you guys thinking of collaborations for the album?
The album is already recorded.
It's done.
Too late for that, yeah.
It's been done.
But
So
for the next one,
Is that confirmation that there are no collaborations on the album?
there is a collaboration.
There is one.
Okay.
Collaboration.
Who's this? If we may.
Exclusive.
I don't
We're
know.
looking for that
I
exclusive.
don't know.
The manager is.
I mean,
Don't say that.
Side eye. It's like, bro.
Yo.
Just get an email from Pine.
I mean, at least you can tell us, is it a group?
It's a dude.
It's a.
It's
okay.
a dude.
It's a whole dude.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's Kenya.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
He has
We can-
dreads.
Did you say so?
Okay.
to
You can
eyes.
start
He has
ticking.
dreads. Did
can
he
start
used to be?
ticking.
Did he used to be in Camp Mola?
Oh, so
Oh,
okay.
I
all right.
think
The-
they've dropped it.
That's called guided misguidance.
Yes. Yeah. So let the listeners have fun with that.
Yeah.
But like,
Let
okay.
them speculate.
When is your album due?
I don't know about that. We're still on the second single. We're just about to put out the
But
third
you-
single.
Okay.
Okay.
That is the cycle longer in this market of Kenya?
Definitely.
I
I'm
feel
not.
like
You guys are doing a
just
tour.
us.
A media tour.
It probably is an us thing. It probably varies from project to project
Okay.
and from artist to artist. So with us, it has been a pretty long cycle.
Will you ever take a populist approach in marketing your music?
for
Like
the
the way,
masses.
How would that be? Like, for instance?
probably, these controversies and all.
You mean
yeah,
Yeah.
media stints and photo ops?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean like
No.
chilling with Huda?
Exactly. You said it.
Not gonna,
It was on the tips of my mouth.
I'm not gonna do that for the audience.
For yourself,
It's
though.
for me.
Private show.
I don't need to sell an album.
Shit. You had it right here, yeah?
Oh my days.
and in terms of releasing the album, does the label pick the single, or do you give the single to the label?
They did a focus group.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We would love to be in. We would love
So
to be in such.
wait, hold up.
They actually
Pine Creek is
exist.
actually moving
They actually
in
exist.
that way.
Is it
Pine
about
Creek is a
is it
very
20 or
dope
40
label.
humans who've heard the album?
Yeah, there's a few people who've actually had the whole album.
Oh, so,
And they heard
so
it like
my-
1.5
And they
years
got
ago.
to comment.
Our
Yeah.
email is, what is this podcast?
What is your email?
Yeah, if that link
If I had
will
a
be
dollar.
greatly appreciated.
But yeah, a focus group. That's how we picked the first single. And then after that, it's just been discussion.
On the next single.
Yeah, so
and
we
the
discuss,
video and-
evaluate impact, revise strategy. It's a learning curve as we're going along.
A very broad question.
Yeah.
Do you know, or do you think most of your listeners are from the country?
I know that they are.
They are.
Yeah.
That's what Sony told you.
And a few others.
So like, who
And
told?
SoundCloud.
Where did you get
And
this?
SoundCloud.
No, most pages usually have like the analytics.
Analytics.
Yeah, so you can tell
okay.
where most of the people who are listening or paying attention to you are.
That's dope.
Most of our fans are
And
at home.
you'll for this album, you'll hope that the Kenyans will buy it. Or
That depends on
streaming.
whether we want to sell it. So
oh,
we'll see.
wait, okay,
What kind of business runs on
hold up,
something
hold up.
not
What
being
kind of
sold?
business runs on charity?
So-
NGOs, bro. Have you seen how much money NGOs have?
So,
But
when you
they
say
sell
not sell
the
it,
vision.
Yeah.
you're saying you'll not print a CD and give it to and give
People
an
still
artist.
do that.
CDs.
People still do that.
Okay, I know King
I mean,
Kaka does that.
When the beef that what's homeboy's name? DJ
Wakadinari.
Khaled. DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled is having with Billboard at the moment is because
because his bundles were not
counted.
counted.
And it's because his bundles are
he's
like
just
kind of
he's
like
just
illegal.
sad. He's just a sad person.
Like that's
He's just sad.
but I think it's because something he relied
it's
there was
because
something
his
that was
trick
coming.
never worked this time.
Yeah,
That's
but
all.
something was
And
really
it worked with someone else.
something big was coming behind that number one album. That's why he's pissed. And so it has to be.
Will you ever do the bundle thingy? Like sell maybe
Merch and all that.
much and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's
because
just
those are the trends in the market, yeah.
it'll depend with what makes sense at the time. I don't know. We can't be again. We
might.
can only plan the pillars. We can't build the house right now.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll know when the time is nigh.
And touring.
That
Oh, we have some surprises for you there.
Damn.
I'm not. That's all I'm gonna say.
And
Okay.
so
That's all we get. There's
Definitely
no-
an album launch and then a couple of shows here and there.
Cool.
Or
Yeah.
There's nothing definite in this. We have not said anything with definitely. I am not getting an email from Pine Creek today.
no.
They've even left to draft it.
You will not get
Draft
me
the
in
email.
Draft
trouble.
the email right now. Anyways, I think
Subjects.
if you guys have nothing else to add on, we can play something.
You,
No, yeah, we had fun with you guys. This was a very, very,
We also had fun.
very interactive conversation.
Yeah,
It was.
you're most welcome back.
Yeah,
Thank you,
If
man.
you guys are doing any media run,
for sure. We'd love to come
definitely
back.
we'd even come to Pine Creek.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
would be sick.
yeah.
Yeah. So
shout out to once again to Pitson.
Pitson, shout out to Mama Nemo, that's my sister, who made the call to Pitson, and then Pitson called I don't know who, and then anyway.
Pitson, like Pitson, the one Pitson.
Yeah, the writer and gospel artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
Le Grand. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
grand.
Grand
You're kidding me?
President.
Like Pitson.
Yeah,
That's
Pitson.
crazy.
Yeah, I
man.
went through
Yeah.
the long line. Yeah. He's just DM'd us.
I know.
I mean,
Pitson
if
is a cool
the resources are right
This is
there.
there. He just DM'd us, and then the person who handles our social media would have seen it, and then
Probably
So
not.
these guys want you to
Probably
do,
not.
to do a
I've tried
podcast.
that before, but this worked, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. You've
Pitson
DM'd
He's a
us
cool guy,
before.
though.
Nope.
So that's,
Okay. Then
Interesting.
I thought it was us. I was tired. I was like, shit.
But this is like this has been a really wonderful experience.
It
with you
has
guys.
been. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you for coming on.
man, don't mention it.
And so plug yourselves. What are you working on? What are you up to at the moment?
Yeah.
This year is just getting to the middle.
This year is just still pretty young. Well, we are, I guess, an Afro-fuzz duo from the Horn of Africa. We go by the name of Mankind. And really appreciate all the support that you guys have given us so far. And we just released our second single off the album. It's called FAME, Fame. Go check that out on our YouTubes. And we're about to release a third single soon enough. And we'll probably be back when the third single is out. So.
Oh yeah, you're most definitely welcome.
Yeah.
This has been What Is This podcast?
Yeah. Yo, we haven't told you our Instagrams yet.
Oh yeah. Plug your socials.
Yo,
We have more than one. Oh right.
On
Instagram,
your DM's already crazy, but you can go ahead and put it out there once again.
It's Life of Mankind. The Life of Mankind everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And personal.
Oh, and our music is on Apple and Spotify, so check it out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And YouTube. Yeah.
And YouTube's, yeah.
That's really dope. So I think we'll play the second single,
Fame,
from the album.
Yeah.
Have you guys come up with a name for the album yet?
We have, but we're under contract not to reveal it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Our
And I know
contract is
that
very
like
long.
a joke, but
No.
like
No.
email.
Yeah.
Why are you messing with our rollout, bro?
That's on air, but off air
Yeah.
is a whole totally different story. So we hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah,
Dope.
same, man.
We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. This has been
It was
As
wild,
much as
man.
we have.
we've covered everything
From
from music to writers to
nerdy talk to
Philosophy.
Eugene's YouTube algorithm.
Oh yeah, we got real
I
nerdy
saw
this time.
an elephant throw a tantrum. Like, have you seen
Wait,
that video?
what?
Like a
The one
baby
throwing-
elephant.
The one
By the
throwing
road.
paper into trash.
No, like
a tantrum.
tantrum.
In
Like,
this our country.
like you know how babies pause and
Yeah.
cry. No,
Okay,
no.
another
Like,
30 minutes of the podcast.
just some video. Like YouTube always like slides like a weird video.
One recommended
on
which
my
I
recommend. So like I saw it and I was like, yo, it was crazy. You should
I
check it
saw
out.
an alien like walk into a web.
Alien?
Yeah, an alien like on CCTV. Like it was just walking, chilling.
That's dope.
Yo,
I wanna
and it's
meet
not
that.
edited.
I want to meet that
Okay,
dude.
Yeah, it wasn't edited.
They always
what
say
they'll
that,
say.
It looks
bro.
so natural.
Of course, it will look so
No.
natural.
It is very natural to walk into walls.
Anyway, I think I can wrap it up. You can play,
Cool.
Yeah.
the
Fame.
song.
This is Fame from the album with no name from Mankind.
That's a very cool name for an album. The album with no name.
That's the same as the album about nothing.
I loved that
I mean,
name.
we should
That was
take,
a dope
if
album.
they
That was a
name it
dope
that,
album.
we should
Cut the check.
cut the check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Publishing
cut the
checks.
check. Publishing check, yo. Sony.
Yeah. So, oh shit. Yeah.
Album
It's
set
so
for
neat.
life.
So this is Fame of Mankind's. Is it your debut?
Yeah, it is.
Mankind's debut album, Fame.
Someday I'll be famous, wealthy. Someday I'll be a star. Ooh, someday I'll be all I was born to be. Someday I'll be a star. Let this moment be yours and mine, and this memory so alive. Let this moment be yours and mine, and this memory so alive. And I'll rock the world I'll be seen up there with the gods. One day I'll be complete. Let this moment be yours and mine. In this memory so alive. Let this moment be yours.